Steve, Professor Steve, congratulations on your black belt.
Thank you very much. It's a big honor.
Yeah, we were just talking about your black belt speech, and you were ready, you know.
I practiced that for like a week in the shower, in the bathroom, walking around, and I got it. I didn't hit it 100%, but I got like 85%. I feel like I didn't look like an absolute clown. I didn't go blank. That was the goal.
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. Yeah, it's such a special moment, you know, and I'm grateful to be there to witness it and to talk a little more and go like longer form, right, conversation and talking about your journey, your black belt journey, and I'd love to know more about you.
Yeah, for sure. I guess we should start at the beginning. So I loved the Karate Kid movies when I was little. I was like 5 years old, 6 years old. I saw it for the first time.
Uh-huh.
That started my fascination with martial arts, and then I liked
The Karate Kid.
Karate Kid.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi. Like my Halloween when I was 5 or 6 years old, I dressed up in the gi. I took traditional karate at the JCC when I was a real little kid, and then I took like a 25-year break from martial arts, and I'd always been a fan of the WWE, and then I got into the UFC, and early 30s, I was like, I want to do some type of group fitness activity. I was like, should I do CrossFit? I was watching a lot of UFC. I was like, maybe I could try this jiu-jitsu thing. I don't really know what it is, but what I heard was that you don't have to be like big in stature in order to be good at it. I knew I wasn't going to be like a heavyweight boxer. I knew I definitely wasn't going to be in the WWE, a professional wrestler or anything like that. I was like, I heard about this Royce Gracie guy. I'm gonna try Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So
did you watch the early UFCs?
I did. I loved them. I would get them from the video store. I didn't watch them on
Blockbuster store whenever they're
exactly. They had the crazy box covers, and I was like, "Who's this guy wearing the karate gi who's like beating all the bigger guys?" I was like, "What is he doing? He's doing like these weird sidekick things, and then shooting at him, and the next thing I know, I don't even know. I didn't really know what he was doing, but these guys would tap out. I was like, that's pretty cool. I think that's the thing I want to go towards. And then, 2012, 2013, 2014, I was watching a lot of UFC, like the early Conor McGregor stuff. And I was like,
okay,
I'm going to try this jiu-jitsu thing. So I went on Google and I saw the name Gracie and I was like, oh, there's a Gracie Baja near me. So I went there and, ended up turning into... And it wasn't Gracie Baja very long. It was Professor Mark's studio. And
was it in Hollywood?
It was in Hollywood, on Gardner. And I was like, when are we going to learn like the sidekicks? Are we going to go to the mall and like break boards and stuff like that? I really didn't know what it was. And the very first day I showed up, we were doing warm-ups. I jammed my neck and I was like, this isn't a good start. And like the dude from Kick-Ass was there and he's like sweeping the shit out of me. So can I swear?
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Like my coordination's bad. I can't dance. And my point of that is like I see somebody do something and I can't get my body to do it. So I really didn't know it was going to be for me for a long time. But I told a bunch of people like I'm going to do this thing, and I didn't want to be seen as a quitter right off the bat just because it wasn't easy for me at the beginning. But kept going. I remember I hit my first arm bar after about like 6 months. It took a while on a newer white belt. I was like, all right, maybe I can
do this.
Maybe I can figure this thing out. Just kept going, liked it more and more. And the more I kept going, the more I kept forcing myself to do it. I liked it, got better at it. And then, you go up the ranks, and eventually 10 years later, you get this awesome black belt and get to make a speech, and now I'm sitting here. So that's kind of that's the condensed version of it.
Yeah. So I remember when I did my first jiu-jitsu classes, my friend armbarred me, and I just remember how it made me feel. Like, forget about all me watching the UFCs, the early UFCs, and seeing Royce Gracie in the UFC and all that, showing that it was like back in the day, it was like showing that it was the best martial art, right? But to just how it made me feel, it gave me like a peace of mind. It made me like a better person, more relaxed. Just better,
Yeah. How far were you into martial arts when you discovered jiu-jitsu, or was that your first thing?
I wrestled when I was a little kid, and then I did some like kickboxing, Muay Thai when I was in high school, but they didn't have that at the time, right? So it was like I was like 18 after high school, and it just happened to have somebody in my town, and I was in New Mexico,
Yep.
kind of doing a class, and so then I just jumped into it, and yeah, I fell in love with it right away. I didn't even see the effectiveness. I didn't see the UFCs. I just remember how it made me feel, and the camaraderie, and it just helped me really pushed me.
Yeah.
I remember just being exhausted and barely being able to walk out of there, and
No doubt.
from pushing myself so much.
Was this like mid 90s? Was this around early UFC days?
Yeah, 94.
Okay.
94.
That's amazing. So you
Yeah.
started in New Mexico, you said?
New Mexico, correct.
Nice. And how long was it until you did your first like competitive jiu-jitsu?
Well, they didn't have too many tournaments back in the day, and so one of my friends, Amal Easton, he has a Easton BJJ in Colorado, a bunch of gyms there. He went to Brazil, and then for like 6 months, and then he came back from Brazil.
Yep.
And then showed me all these things that he learned. We trained in his garage because the first guy who taught us, Marco Gonzalez, he had gone back into he was a Navy SEAL, gone back into the service, and then so we started training in his garage every day, and I started showing me all these cool things and telling me stories, and I was like, oh man, this is amazing, and then took me to a couple tournaments here in LA. So this is back in I think in 96, yeah.
Yeah.
So a couple years, and they only had like blue belt divisions,
Okay.
They didn't have white belt divisions. It was just blue belt divisions, and I fell in love. I just fell in love with just the whole lifestyle and just everything about it.
Were you pretty dominant right from the beginning? You took to it pretty early? Or?
No, I lost. I lost. Yeah, I was tough. I was always tough, and I was good. But I lost for like a 2.5 years. So for my first 13 tournaments, I lost.
Wow.
And so it was really hard because I was traveling different places, and to go back home and say, hey, I lost. My first or second match.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult. Very difficult to keep going. But there was just something inside of me that said, like, try again. Again.
I was gonna say, a lot of people, you lose. Early on, you may tell yourself like, all right, maybe this isn't for me. I'm going to try like another, I don't know, another sport, or just quit altogether. What kept you going, and what was the thing that got you from the loser circle into the winner circle eventually?
Just me competing, me losing. I was, like I said, I was tough, I was good, but I didn't know how to compete. All these guys were like seasoned competitors, especially when I went down to Brazil for the first time. All these guys had been competing for years, So it wasn't that I wasn't good or anything, but I would I didn't know how to compete. I don't know the way, to win. And so then I read a book called from Napoleon Hill called Think and Grow Rich.
It's one of my favorite books.
Yeah, and so I wrote down my goals, what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a world champion. I wanted to be this and that, and I wrote it down, And then I got laser-like focused, and I think that's one of the things that helped me kind of keep going within that. But for sure, I felt like, what am I doing? Especially I went to Brazil too. On top of it, I'm like, when I would wake up, I'm like, what am I doing here?
It's the Mecca.
This is crazy. Like, because then back in those days, it was just raw. There was no, I'm gonna have a jiu-jitsu school. Those things weren't even. It was like Fight Club days, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it was amazing. I guess my question is, you said I didn't know how to win. Do you mean that you didn't know enough submissions, or you didn't know how to collect points? What do you mean by you didn't know how to win? Was it a mental thing? Physical thing?
No. I mean, it was a lot of I think all the things, But I started to study the guys. I would stay in the stands, and I would, I remember when I went down for the first World Championship in '97, and one of my it was a big turnaround or big learning thing for me, and I stayed in the stands and I watched all the guys in my division. And I watched the guys they kept winning and how they won.
Yep.
Right? And they had certain games, certain things that they were really good at, and they did those in those matches.
All right.
Yeah, so they had like strategies and tactics and ways to win, So I watched that and I learned. I learned. And then later on, even I got to go against them, and it was pretty cool because they came out of nowhere. But I was there, but just watching, learning.
That's rad.
Taking notes.
Yeah,
I got one of my best compliments from one of the guys. They were just like, "Wow, you came out of nowhere."
Nice.
They told me that. I was like, inside, I was like, "No, I've been here, but
I'm
just
sure.
not on the podium,
Yeah.
or not on top of the podium."
That's great. That's good to level up like that. What do you think is the biggest evolution from mid late 90s versus now? What are the biggest things that have changed in competitive jiu-jitsu?
I think just technology. We learn things a lot faster.
Yep.
Like the access is just, it's ridiculous, and you can learn things. I think I keep repeating this, but just back in the day, like you had to get a VHS tape, and you had to find a guy that was selling VHS tapes out of his trunk, and it was before kind of the internet, So things were much, much slower. And now you can go online, you can watch the matches live, you can watch people in the gym, people sharing techniques before they compete. So it's just the techniques and stuff is just so much more easy accessible, and so you learn much faster.
Yeah, Professor Mark said that he used to get like magazines, and they'd all be staring over one magazine, and it wasn't even like, it's a magazine, it's not a video. It would have like 6 boxes, and it was like step 1, step 2, step 3, and they'd have to like try to figure out in between the steps. So it was really archaic versus now. Yeah, you can just go online and watch 10 hours of Gordon Ryan videos, and
the instructionals for sure. They had the black belt magazine, then they had these black belt magazine made those grappling magazines, so those are big deals back in the day. And you would like look at the techniques and like, oh wow, that's a Kimura, oh wow, that's an ankle lock, wow, amazing, and then you're like, okay, you knew what it was. And then these guys came out with instructionals, like these VHS instructionals, because everything was very secretive back then. You know? Like you couldn't share. Everything was like very tribal. It's still tribal, but like the everything was secret. So at least the first coach I had. So those are ways that we could evolve and grow our knowledge.
Yeah,
at a faster pace.
It's
until I went to the source and went down to Brazil and stuff.
Yeah, is that where you learned the most, when you actually went down to Brazil?
Yeah.
What was the biggest difference between training here, training in the Southwest versus training in actual Brazil?
I mean, like I started in New Mexico, right? And then after Brazil, I moved back to New Mexico. But I mean, that's where everything was. That was the mecca. That was the hotbed. That's where all the tournaments were. That's where all the best guys were.
Yeah.
It was what an experience. That was where it was at. It was like the golden age of like sport jiu-jitsu, because it was mixed with the guys that were fighting like Vale-Tudo MMA.
Yep.
So back in those days, it was very mixed. So all the who's who were in those tournaments.
Got it. So you level up your competition. You have to level up yourself. Like you're swimming with the sharks, you got to become a shark.
Yeah.
What was the technique that really changed?
That's good.
Thanks,
yeah,
man.
you got to become a shark for sure. That's it. Yeah.
What was the technique or move set that really defined you or leveled up your game?
It's good questions, right? I got an injury. I hurt my elbow. My friend, actually my buddy Amal Easton, he got me in a Kimura, and I was always stubborn and I don't want to tap, and he got me in this Kimura, and I blew up my elbow kind of, and it was really bad. You know? And I was like so focused that I just kept training. I trained one-handed, and I would tuck my hand in.
Wow.
And I would grab my belt, and I would train one-handed. And so I developed this like cross guard game. So you kind of use. I got really good with my body and my legs, like kind of ridiculous, Yeah. And I was just so focused, and I would use one hand. And so once I got my second hand back, I was just unstoppable.
Got it.
And I did that same thing till from blue belt to black belt.
Got it.
But if I hadn't had that kind of setback, you want to say, if you want to call it a setback, right? I wouldn't have had that opportunity to kind of evolve my game like that.
So your weakness ended up becoming a strength overall. So do you recommend most guys not tap to Kimura so they can break their elbows?
Definitely not. But I think the lesson there is to not. There's always a way,
Yeah.
There's always a way. If you can't walk, you crawl. If you can't crawl, you watch. There's always a way to kind of keep moving forward.
I love it.
Yeah. So I think that's the lesson there is I just kept going, and because I kept going, it was a blessing in disguise, the injury.
Yeah. Do you think had that injury never happened, that your progress may have stagnated a little bit? Was it a blessing in disguise overall?
I don't know. I think later on I did an instructional in Japan, and it ended up selling more than because Royler Gracie Jean-Jacques Machado had these like best-selling books, and I outsold those books in Japan. And it was kind of cool just because I was this kid from New Mexico.
Yeah.
And I was all on my cross guard on my omoplata stuff. So I had like I don't know, a million techniques on omoplata in that book, and that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't had that injury. And so I'm sure I would have found a way because I was very focused and I had my goals written down and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was nice, man. It was nice to kind of turn a negative into a positive.
For sure. For sure. There was definitely a silver lining there.
Yeah.
And glad you're able to use it to your advantage. So
Yeah.
you have a huge school here. You have a lot of students.
He's interviewing me. It's good. It's good. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm gonna flip it back to you. Yeah.
Sure.
Because I think what's this? Sebastian that was asking me too. Yeah, it's nice because I connect with you guys. You know.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for me to connect with you guys, and I appreciate it so much. You know.
Of
and
course.
you guys are it's very well deserved, and yeah, what an opportunity, and we get to share with everybody.
Well, you said your favorite book was The Think and Grow Rich, or it had a big impact on you. Napoleon Hill, he made that book. He interviewed a whole bunch of people. Like I like doing the same thing.
The most successful people in the world, right?
Exactly.
Success leaves clues, right?
Yeah, so he interviewed like the Rockefellers and all those people.
Andrew Rockefeller, he set him up with all the best, the most successful guys, the Tom Fords, all the who's who in the business financial world, right? That did anything.
My point with that is saying, like, you've built an amazing empire here. You have a ton of students. You own like this whole block. So it's my opportunity to pick your brain a little bit as we do this. So I guess before you can start asking me questions, my last question is: I'm sure you have new white belts starting every single week. You probably have no problem getting new people in here. What do you tell new students when they first come in order to ensure that they're successful?
What do I tell new white belt students to ensure their success? What do I recommend? Man, I say, forget about your ego. Come in, show up, be consistent, do the techniques, focus on your technique. Don't worry about winning or losing. And then for sure, like the first couple months, you know, and then you know, with time, once you start to learn techniques and start to put things together, then you can start focusing more on other things, right? Like winning and stuff. But there's no use of if you don't know anything to just to go hard, you know.
Got it.
And so because of that, if you don't do that, you can do a lot more. Actually, you can train a lot more, and you want to train a lot more.
Yeah.
Because your body can handle it, you know. So it's being smart.
You can't push the revs 100% every single time, especially when you first start.
And it's not, you're not being efficient, right? If you want to, well, depending on your goal, do you want to be really good at jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Well, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to get out of this? Do you want to get everybody has different goals, you know, but I think they're pretty close, aligned, you know, if you ask, you talk to a lot of the white belts and stuff.
Got it.
But I think that for sure would be like universal kind of a thing.
Cool. That's great advice.
Yeah.
That's looking back. That's kind of what I did, and ended up working out.
Yeah, working out. Yeah. Sticking with it. Yeah, and that's the main thing, right? But being consistent, and then just being smart, especially at the beginning. Just show up, make sure you come in, and then focus on the technique.
Yep.
Not about winning and losing so much, right? Because it's hard. We all want to win.
Of course.
But being smart and controlling that and focusing on doing the work that you need to be doing to set up your base, build your house.
Great advice. Anybody listening to this, if you're new, I'd say follow it.
Awesome. All right, let's go back to you.
All right.
So where are you from?
I'm from Manchester, New Hampshire. So
okay,
about an hour outside of Boston.
Okay.
But moved here in 2006. So I've been in LA for almost 20 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty close to me. I moved out here in 2007.
All right.
Yeah. What brought you to LA?
Originally, TV and film. Okay. Thought I wanted to go that direction. I started off in production. Didn't last very long. It wasn't very glamorous. The pay was horrible. The hours were bad. I just didn't really like it. It was better than my background's actually in finance. I did that for a year outside of college. Yeah, I was at this bank in Boston, and I was sitting there.
You look like a financial guy. You could work Wall Street or a financial advisor. You know,
I'm versatile. I'm versatile. If I ever need to go back, I prefer the gi to the suit, but it's good to know. All I remember sitting there one day and I was like, I don't want to. I was like 22 years old. I was like, I've always wanted to go to LA. I was watching a lot of Entourage, and I was like, I don't want to turn like 30 years old and get really old, and regret it. Yeah, at the time it seemed really old. So I packed my bags, drove across the country with my dad. Started in production. And then I tried to get into comedy for a little while.
Okay.
I was like going out for commercials, booked a couple little commercial things, nothing huge. I was bartending, and then on the side of bartending, I started training people. I was like working out, like lifting weights, transformed me mentally and physically. And I decided I really liked it.
Helped you as well. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't think I was gonna like training people, because I was like, I don't want to turn something that I like into a job and look at like the gym as an office that I hate going to. But so I kind of put it off for a little while, but I eventually fell in love with training people. Then I learned the business side of things, and I was like, oh wow, you can have like a lot of control if you work really, really hard at this. You get good at marketing, you get good at become a good trainer, get good client retention. You can make a nice living off of it, and you don't have to be gate kept by like a casting director or a producer who decides whether or not you get to work. So, fell in love with the personal training space, and had like a boot camp, had these awesome one-on-one clients. And then COVID happened, and I started putting out videos on TikTok, and got blessed by the algorithm gods. And then here we are. I started like an online coaching business, and now I'm a full-time online influencer / coach.
Yeah.
I hate saying that, but
handle at Dadbod, right?
Dadbod Steve. Yeah.
It's Dadbod Steve.
Yeah. Find me. Got a free fast start guide for you. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool thing that I do. I like it a lot. It's not what I pictured I was going to be doing when I was in college, because it didn't really exist. But here we are today. It's been a crazy few years.
Yeah. It's awesome. Cool. Yeah. Instagram and social media has changed the game, right? We're talking about what's the difference between back then and now, and it's just like the social media game, the whole social media thing.
Yeah,
on all aspects, right?
I'd say it's one of the best things to happen to jiu-jitsu. My feed is full of new techniques and moves that I'm always learning from. So that's a good aspect.
Yeah, the thing is the personal and just the time that kind of, for me at least, away from other things, because I ended up kind of getting sucked into that.
Oh, everybody does, yeah.
Spending too much time there, so I'm always trying to find that balance, which I don't know if it can be done, They're too smart,
It's tough. Well, the same discipline that is required to show up to jiu-jitsu, it's going to be the same type of discipline to put the phone away, at least a couple hours before bed, if possible.
For sure.
Even I struggle with that.
Yeah. So what were the things that worked well for you when you started, posting, going online during COVID? Or that happened?
Being consistent. So I started an Instagram in like 2014. I post once a week, post a couple times a week, just so if someone was looking me up to like considering hiring me as a trainer, they'd see I existed, but didn't really take it seriously. But I hired a coach, and they were like, start posting twice a day on TikTok. Like, your stuff's okay. I don't know why you don't have a bigger following. So
your stuff's okay.
Yeah,
just post twice a day.
Yeah. The algorithm, I guess they like consistency. So I never had any type of following or anything like that, and I didn't really care. But then I was like, I kind of liked this online thing. I want to get some traction. I can't sell this program if I don't have any followers. So I started posting twice a day. And the story I always tell was I committed to it. I was like, I'm going to post twice a day no matter what. There was this one Sunday where I had just played 18 holes of golf. It was like 6 o'clock at night. I was exhausted, didn't have anything to post. But I was like, said I was going to do it. I got to come up with something. So I just filmed a little workout video and threw it up there just so I can, check the box, say that I did my post for the day. And the next morning I woke up with 5,000 new followers from 200 and like 500,000 views. Then I just kept doing it, and my following kept growing. And so I guess the short answer is really committing and being consistent. So if you say you're going to do something, do it no matter what, whether your emotions tell you that you should take the day off or not. And it usually pays off.
Yeah, like you saying that, like you ended up liking it, like you liking it. I think we have fun with posting stuff. I have fun with it, like get to do funny things and fun things and
Yeah.
connect with people, So I don't dislike it, I like it, but I think you saying that is very powerful, right? Because you can't force something. It's hard to be well. You can force it, right? But some people aren't wired a certain way to maybe be consistent like that or make that their life, right?
Yeah, for sure. Or they have other strengths. They'll be consistent with something else. But
correct.
The thing that paid off for me was that I wasn't successful as an actor, but I did take all these classes to get comfortable on camera and like sketch comedy classes and stuff like that. So that helped me along the way. So I did enjoy it. When people aren't seeing it and you're putting this stuff out there, it's tough to have the faith to keep going. Like if you have 200 followers and it's not getting traction, they're like, what am I doing this for? I'm not getting paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really helping my business that much. So you got to take that leap of faith sometimes. So I don't know. You got to
stick with it, right? Stick with it. Like
success is not guaranteed, but you gotta commit to it like it is.
Yeah. So going back to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You started your jiu-jitsu journey, and then you started, having some success, right? What are the things that you enjoyed about jiu-jitsu? What did it do for your life? How did it help you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, it helped with, I think, discipline is a great muscle that not a lot of people exercise enough. Discipline's going to get you through a lot of things in life. It's going to give you a lot in life. And just like a biceps muscle, if you don't exercise it, it's not going to grow. So the fact that it gave me some place to be that I didn't necessarily want to be, 3 times a week, and then showing up, and then you get rewarded with this cool skill set, new stripe on the belt, new friends, whatever. It's just really, really good. So it helped me build that discipline muscle, and on top of that, it gives you this kick-ass skill to be able to defend yourself if needed, and the camaraderie that comes with it. Some of the best people I've met are at that jiu-jitsu class. Yeah. So that's probably the biggest thing that it's brought to me. And yeah, just like anything, if you get used to doing things you don't feel like doing when you don't feel like doing them, it can only benefit you.
Yeah. The camaraderie, right? That has kept me, and I think probably most of us coming back, 'cause
Yeah.
you get connected with others, your training partners, and they become like really good friends. Like my best friends in my life still to this day are my jiu-jitsu friends from when I was younger.
And you got a lot of them here. At the black belt ceremony, there were probably 300 people here. It was crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah. How did that feel, with all those people, seeing all those black belts? What crossed your mind?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I kind of envisioned it on my very first day, and no matter what you think it's going to be like, until you're actually up there, it's impossible to know the actual feeling. And it felt great, man. There have been a few major milestone moments in my life, and that was definitely up there as one of them. And that whole 10 years made it all worth it, just standing up there in front of all those people. I felt really, really accomplished. I've really felt like if you can do a black belt, if you have the discipline to get a black belt in jiu-jitsu, you can pretty much accomplish anything.
It's true. It's true.
If you show up and you try hard, you get better and you care about it, then whether it's a business venture or anything you want to accomplish in life, it's the same exact skill set and mindset required. So it felt awesome.
Yeah, very true. Well said. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The 10 years on the mat, did you ever have any injuries or any setbacks where you're like, man, I don't know if I can keep doing this and keep going?
I got really lucky a little bit, but not much. Like a couple times I'd, jam a finger or something like that, and it swelled, your index finger swells up to the size of your thumb, and you can't use it for a week or so. Mat burn. I'll throw out my neck maybe once a year, but nothing too bad. Like some people have the elbow problem. My neck's my issue. I don't know. I got a long neck. I'll get stacked. I'll jam it up. No cauliflower ear. I don't know how I avoided that. But I got really, really lucky.
Some people don't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just never got it, man. I don't know. I kind of wanted it. I wanted just a little bit, not like the full. UFC, crazy, deformity type thing, but just a little bit, just so someone looks at me and, oh, that dude's badass. Never got the cauliflower ear. I was really, really lucky never to get any major injury. So, knock on wood.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. We were talking about the camaraderie, the friends, and things like that. So, could you give me some examples, like just maybe of those things kind of helping you kind of continue keeping you motivated? I look back at my journey, and sometimes like you have losses, like competing and things like that, and just like the people, they lift you up, and you have your kind of your team, your crew, keeping you in the game, because you have setbacks, ups and downs, not even on the mat, but even on life, right?
Yeah. Well, a couple things there. I will say it's great to see the same people every single day. It becomes like, the show Cheers. They show up at the bar every single day. You see the usuals. I love that. And then Professor Mark, obviously you learn a lot. You learn the skills. You learn how to do a triangle and stuff. But he has such great stories, such great life lessons he's been like almost like a father figure since living in LA, and he's great to have. So the people that you surround yourself, that you see every single day, you see at the open mats, that's great. It keeps you going. But then having a good leadership
mentor,
having a good mentor is really, really valuable. I've learned a lot from Professor Mark about jiu-jitsu, but also about life as well. That's been very valuable to me.
Yeah. It's so important, right? That's what it's all about, right? In the school, it starts from the top down. So having the right mentor,
100%.
One of the things you asked me about with the white belts, what do I recommend? First off, I would say go check out the school. See how you feel there. See if it's the right fit for you.
Yeah,
because there's different strokes for different folks, right?
For sure.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the things as well that I would say. Go there and see if the values, see if the place aligns with like who you are and what you're about as well.
I knew Professor Mark's school. It was Gracie Baja at the time. Right when I walked in, I knew it was like the place for me. That was the first place I looked, and I've been loyal there for 10 years. So
awesome. What were the things that you kind of that you liked about it? Legacy West Adams.
Yeah.
Shout out.
So the class size that I went to wasn't huge. At the biggest, it'd be like 6 of us, 8 of us, but there were often times where it was, it was a slow day. It was lunch class. People are working. I don't necessarily work during the day, or I get time off during the day. So I like that I got individual attention because I needed it. Like I was not naturally inclined to be good at jiu-jitsu. Just things we talked about earlier, coordination, just getting my body to move the right way. So I like that I got the individual attention. That was the biggest thing. I didn't get lost in like a big sea of 50 people on the mat, and that was probably the biggest determining factor. And then right away, it was just really, really cool people who were accepting of me and didn't, clown on me for being horrible. and they allowed me to keep coming back, which is always nice.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Professor Mark, techniques, you got a lot of personal attention, like training with him, and that kind of helps you, helped you kind of keep going in the journey, in your learning.
Yeah, if there was like a short bus to go to jiu-jitsu class, that would have been me on there. I needed a little extra attention at the beginning, and he was happy to give it to me. He never got frustrated with me or anything like that, or at least that he showed. So that was very valuable to me.
Nice. And your Instagram is called Dadbod.
Yeah.
Dadbod Steve. And so how did that come about?
So so I wanted to put together this online program. I really like the idea of working from home. I'm a geek when it comes to like internet marketing, things like that. I was like, I need a niche. So at the time, when I first put it together, it was like 2017. The term dad bod had just come into the vernacular, and a lot of my friends started to become dads, and they were asking me, they're like, "You're a trainer. What can I do? I don't have as much time." So I was like, "All right, I'm going to put together this program. It's going to teach busy guys how to implement fitness into their life when they can't be at the gym 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. That they're not about to get a food scale and start weighing out their food every single day. They got busy lives. They got other things to prioritize. So I was like, all right, I'm going to put together this dad bod program, and I'm going to serve all my friends who are now becoming dads, and that's how it came to be. And then I was one of the first guys to start talking about dad bods online, and one of the first people to start niching in that, as far as I know. So first to the party
Okay,
gets
awesome,
the big rewards. So,
So in a nutshell, could you tell me about like what you asked me about white belts coming in? Like what are your recommendations, or what in a nutshell, what's your program for people coming in?
yeah, so here's the long and short of it. January 1st, you're going to see a ton of people commit to their New Year's resolutions, and they want to get in shape. They want to lose the holiday weight. They want to lose 20 pounds, whatever. And they think that the best way to go about it is to do as much as possible, as fast as possible. But that's not changing too many habits at once that doesn't have a high success rate. Your brain just doesn't like to change too many habits at once. So what I teach them to do is, instead of worrying about training 5 days a week, lifting for an hour, doing 30 minutes of cardio, cutting out carbs, bringing your calories way down, instead do this. All right, we're going to do some intermittent fasting. This is going to help you control your calories a little bit. Don't worry about anything else. Get to the gym. We're going to do some very, very basic lifting. You're going to do your compound movements, your squats, your rows, your push-ups, things like that. Focus on mastering these basic things, and we can move on to the next thing. So I'm all about slow and steady habit change. I don't advertise my program as a rapid results program. I advertise it as a permanent results program. Mm-hmm. And when you start and when you change slowly, you're a lot more likely to stick with it. Like if someone were to first come in to a jiu-jitsu class and you're like, you have to be here 7 days a week, 90 minutes a day, or you're not going to be able to come back, your drop-off rate would be, pretty high, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe 2% of people would last, if that. Same thing goes with fitness. They go too hard, too fast. Week 3, instead of going to the gym 5 days a week, they go 2 days a week, and they think they're a failure, and they start getting these negative thoughts, and they just quit altogether until the next January 1st. So if you start slow, you don't move on to the next habit until you mastered the first one, you build a strong foundation, then the success rate is a lot higher. So that's what I do. It's all about the science of habit change and being able to implement it into your life in a way that doesn't totally take over your life.
Nice. I like it. Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Just how you're saying, like the less is, like in a way, like less is more, right? Less is more with just your habits and your routine and things like that. Not doing too much, saying like being consistent, right? With the white belt 100%. Coming in, right?
That's it. You nailed it. Yeah. So, you don't worry about trying to compete with Ronnie Coleman or Arnold Schwarzenegger on day one. Compete with the version of you from yesterday. Just try to do one more rep. Try to add 5 more pounds. All right. Don't try to have the same diet as an Olympic athlete.
Yeah.
Focus on, putting a little bit more on your protein on your plate for a little while. Once you master that, we can start looking at other things. So you got to walk before you can run.
Nice. So tell me more about yourself. Like, besides jiu-jitsu and training,
That's my life right there, man. That's it. That's everything.
People say that to me too. What do you do for fun? I'm like, I do this for fun.
This is it, man. This is it.
I watch fights. I do fights. All day long, every day.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I love LA is I love eating too, and LA has a lot of great food options. So I don't know. We could probably do another hour on my favorite.
What do you like?
Favorite
what kind
restaurants?
Of food? What kind of restaurants?
Oh man, so much.
Talk to me.
The thing that I like right now is LA's for the longest time didn't have good pizza.
Okay.
And now all of these like Detroit style pizza places are popping up that are absolutely amazing. It's these square pieces with like really, really crispy crusts and great toppings that are like super filling.
What's Detroit pizza? There's like Chicago pizza, which is like deep dish, right?
It's kind of similar. They're square slices.
Okay.
Really crispy crust on the outside. Not as much cheese or sauce as Chicago style. Chicago's like a lasagna. I love that, but it's just so much cheese. The crust is like really, really flaky and light, but at the same time thick. And they got the sauce down. They got the sauce to cheese ratio down. But there are a couple great spots in my neighborhood. There's one called Apollonia. It's fantastic. D-Town, Triple Beam, Quarter Sheets. All these places have like lines around the block now. Oh, wow. They're so good. And
okay.
Love a good burger. I could talk about burgers forever, man. Even our fast food burgers are great. We got In-N-Out Burger here, which is nice. But like this place on Fairfax called Golden State. It's fantastic. It's probably my favorite. We got Father's Office. I don't know. Talk about pizza and burgers forever, man. We got all kinds of breakfast spots. I'm just gonna spew this stuff out.
Yeah. What do you think if you have to? You tell somebody from out of town, what's your favorite burger spot in LA?
I'd say, yeah, check out Golden State on Fairfax.
Golden State. Okay.
Yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind. It's so good, man. It's like a bacon cheeseburger, but the sweet potato fries that come with it are fantastic.
Okay.
And you walk into the place, it just smells.
Golden State. I'll remember that.
Yeah, it's great.
Nice. And pizza?
Pizza, I'd say either Apollonia's or...
That's the Detroit place?
Yeah.
Detroit style?
It's great. Apollonia's is awesome. And Quarter Sheets is really good, too.
Quarter Sheets?
Yeah, it's on the east side.
Okay. Cool. We have one of our guys. He has What Up Dough here in Burbank. Pizza.
I've heard about that place. I heard it's good. I think I saw that on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've been. I like the name, and now I got to go. I'm gonna support your people.
Down the street, yeah.
Oh, nice. I like a good pun, too. Yeah.
Pun.
I like jiu-jitsu, pizza, burgers, and puns. That's me in a nutshell, man.
Nice. What's next for you? What's going on? What do you have? What kind of plans?
Yeah, just gonna keep growing my business. I have this online coaching program. I have this new app coming out. I partner with a company called Spren, and what we do there is, do you know what a DEXA scan is?
Yes.
Like a body composition scan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they stand on a thing. They do like the 360.
Exactly. So this company Spren came up with this product that can do a body scan on your camera.
On your camera. Wow.
Yeah, camera phone. And you do it right on your phone.
Yeah.
It's not as accurate as a DEXA scan, but it comes pretty damn close, and you can do it at home. Which, you don't have to spend $50 to go to a facility, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there's going to be an AI version of me integrated into it that's going to coach you through to your fitness and health goals. So AI is huge.
Dadbot Steve.
Yeah, AI Dadbot Steve, what the world needs, man. Skynet taking over. Terminator 2.
Straight up. Do you ever hang out with ChatGPT?
I do, and it scares me, man. It scares me.
You too, Kevin?
You hang out, no?
Like I spent time talking to it.
Yeah, it's
learning what they say and how much it's improved in this last year.
It's really scary.
Like a year ago, it wasn't like this.
It can give you just as good a workout program as any top level trainer at this point. The one thing it can't do is simulate a personal relationship.
No, for sure.
But it's getting pretty damn close, man. It's getting close. Not too far from them being able to just replicate our consciousness. So one good thing about jiu-jitsu is you're not going to get taken over by a computer, unless, I don't know, some T-1000 jiu-jitsu robot gets invented. But until then, you're pretty safe.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But online coaching, there are a lot of elements. What I do, online coaching, are going to be replaced by AI. So may as well integrate with it, man.
You have to, yeah. You have to, like the new Matrix, right? It's not like us versus the machines, but it's us working with the machines, and so you cannot not do that.
I, for one, welcome our machine overlords. No ill feelings toward them.
Yeah, man. The ChatGPT. It's funny because I was playing around with flyers, like, hey, make me a flyer with this on it, and then it has like weird kind of some things like somebody with 2 heads or 3 hands or something like that. Stuff
They're
like that.
They're gonna work that out.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
They're gonna work that out.
I'm like, hey, take away one. It has 3 hands on it. Take out one of the hands, and it does it. So I just play around and I just have fun with it, and it's kind of crazy. I was, I had a whole thing with my kids, I was sitting down with them and I was like, who is this, and then it said like, da-da-da-da-da, and it was really accurate.
Yeah.
Like all of them. And they're not like, some were like more low profile, and
sure.
but it still had all the info, on them. And
it's great. It does graphic design like that. You can do memes.
Yeah.
I'm single right now. I'm on the dating apps, and I took a screenshot of a conversation. I said, "What should I say next?" And it gives you like I wasn't like, "This is it. This is what I'm gonna say to get the girl," but it gives you like things that make sense that could work, and it's only gonna get better there. So ChatGPT is turning into pickup artist Casanovas. It's kind of crazy, man. I saw,
there's a whole
Stan
South
was
Park
using
episode,
it.
On it, yeah.
Well, South Park is pretty good at having their finger on the pulse of what's going on. And I don't know. I'm excited for AI, man. I think 5 years from now, a lot of the stuff that is normal for us right now is going to be obsolete and replaced with some type of AI version of it.
I believe. I'm positive too. I think it's good. It's only positive for the world, as long as there's no like Skynet kind of Terminator people, taking us out, nuclear war and whatever. But I think I'm very positive too, just on the efficiency and just making life better, quality of life for all of us. As long as we do like things that keep us present and grounded, like training, like moving, and jiu-jitsu and martial arts and connecting with others, like this kind of a thing. Or, in that realm, right?
For sure. In order to be happy, you have to have some type of purpose. And as long as you have, like, obviously a lot of jobs and professions are going to be replaced by it and become obsolete and no longer needed. So it's going to be that much more important for people to get a hobby, get a passion like jiu-jitsu or running or weightlifting or whatever it is in order to be mentally and physically healthy.
Yeah, that's it. Awesome, man. Well, you have any other like shout outs to anything or anything you wanna talk about?
Yeah. Give me a follow on Instagram or TikTok, dadbod_Steve. If you want to learn more about my program, go to dadbodsteve.com. I got a free fast start guide that I'll email for you.
Dadbodsteve.com.
Dadbodsteve.com.
You got the website. Cool.
You know it. And get on my mailing list. Be on the lookout for my AI DEXA scan app coming out, and I'm going to be able to coach you virtually, and I'm always working on something new. So
awesome, man.
If you follow me, I appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Great talking to you, and
same honor to be here.
Look forward to seeing you on the mat and around.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.